The kettle clicked off behind me with a soft, mechanical sigh. It was such a small sound, ordinary, harmless, but in that moment it felt louder than a scream. Steam curled into the air, fogging the corner of my glasses as I stood alone in my kitchen, holding a porcelain mug that had belonged to my mother. Pale blue flowers ran along its rim, faded now with age. I'd owned it for decades. I trusted it. I trusted this house. I trusted my family. Sunlight poured through the thin curtains, dust particles floating lazily in its glow. Everything looked peaceful. Too peaceful. The kind of quiet that only exists right before something breaks. I lifted the kettle, my hand steady out of habit, even though my joints had started aching more these past few months. I told myself it was age. 68 wasn't young. Everyone forgot things sometimes. Just as the first drop of hot water touched the mug, "Grandma!" The word hit me like ice. My hand froze midair. My heart stopped. Slowly, carefully, I turned around. My grandson stood in the doorway. Ethan, 8 years old, small for his age, brown curls falling into his eyes. His hands were clenched so tightly his knuckles were white. His chest rose and fell like he'd run a mile to get here. And he was looking at me with fear. Pure, urgent fear. "Don't drink that," he said. The kettle slipped from my hand and slammed into the sink, water splashing everywhere. I barely noticed the burn on my wrist, because my grandson wasn't supposed to talk. The child who couldn't. For 8 years, every doctor had told us the same story. Nonverbal, developmentally delayed, limited expressive language, unlikely to ever communicate clearly. They said it gently, the way people do when they've already decided the ending. They spoke to me slowly, loudly, as if I was the one who couldn't understand. I believed them. Everyone did. Everyone except Ethan. He took a step closer to me, his eyes never leaving the mug. "She puts things in your tea," he said again, quieter now. "Powder, pills. She grinds them." My knees weakened. I grabbed the edge of the counter to keep from collapsing. You can talk?" I whispered. He swallowed. "I always could." Who I am. My name is Margaret Holloway. I'm a retired librarian from a small town most people pass through without noticing. I spent 40 years surrounded by books, by stories, by the quiet comfort of words. I believed in facts, in patience, in giving people the benefit of the doubt. I was married once. My husband, Thomas, died 12 years ago from a heart attack while mowing the lawn. One minute he was there. The next, he wasn't. Life has a way of teaching you that stability is temporary. We had one son, Eric. He grew up kind, gentle, too gentle if I'm being honest. He married Vanessa 8 years ago, and that's when everything began to change. Vanessa. Vanessa's beautiful in a way that looks expensive. Perfect hair, perfect smile, clothes that never wrinkle. Her voice is soft, controlled, always reasonable. She knows how to sound concerned while quietly taking control of the room. From the beginning, she treated me like furniture. Polite, distant, tolerant. She spoke for Eric constantly, chose where they lived, managed the finances, decided when I could see Ethan. "He needs structure," she'd say. "Too many visits confuse him. Routine is important for children like him." I trusted her. Why wouldn't I? She was his mother. The tea. The tea started about 2 years ago. Vanessa brought it over during a visit, a little tin with handwritten labels. Organic, she said. Natural calming herbs. Helps with sleep. I laughed it off and said, I sleep just fine. But she insisted. Soon, every visit came with tea, different blends, chamomile, lavender, things that smelled comforting. And slowly, subtly, things began to change. I forgot small things at first, where I'd put my keys, why I'd walked into a room. Then it grew worse. I repeated stories, missed appointments, mixed up dates. Vanessa noticed immediately. She suggested doctors, tests, specialists. She's declining faster than expected, she told Eric. It might be dementia. I cried that night, alone. Eric hugged me and promised we'd figure it out. But I noticed something else. Vanessa never looked worried. She looked prepared. Ethan's silence. Ethan spent more time with me once Vanessa decided I needed supervision. Ironically, that's how she handed him access to the only person who truly listened. He was quiet, observant. He watched everything. When I talked to him, he listened like every word mattered. I read to him. I always had. He never spoke. But sometimes when he thought no one was watching, he'd mouth the words along with me. I noticed. Vanessa didn't. The warning. That morning in the kitchen, Ethan's voice didn't sound childish. It sounded practiced. He says it makes you confused, he continued. Then the doctors won't ask questions. My stomach turned. What does she say to you? I asked gently. His eyes dropped to the floor. She says if I talk, you'll go away forever. Something inside me broke. The plan. We didn't confront her. Not yet. I was a librarian. I knew how to research, how to document, how to wait. I stopped drinking the tea. I poured it down the sink when no one was watching. Then I did something dangerous. I pretended it was working. I repeated myself, forgot names on purpose, asked the same questions twice. Vanessa watched with satisfaction. People always relax when they think they've won. What we found. Hidden in the guest room drawer, I found notebooks. Dates, dosages, notes written in careful handwriting. Too alert today. Increase slightly. Doctor appointment next week. I took photos. I recorded phone calls. I went to my doctor quietly and asked for blood tests. The results came back 2 days later. Sedatives. Unprescribed. Consistent exposure. The doctor stared at me like he didn't want to believe it. Who's been giving you this? He asked. I answered honestly. My daughter-in-law. The return. Eric and Vanessa came over that Sunday. Vanessa smiled, carrying another tin of tea. I was thinking, she said sweetly, maybe it's time we talk about assisted living. Eric looked uncomfortable. Vanessa continued anyway. It's just safer for everyone. That's when Ethan stood up. I can talk, he said clearly. The room collapsed into silence. Truth. I pressed play. Recordings fill the air. Vanessa's voice, calm, cold. She won't remember. He doesn't talk anyway. Once she's declared incompetent, the house is ours. Eric's face drained of color. The doctor arrived with the report. Police followed. Vanessa screamed, denied, cried. Then she went quiet. Aftermath. She was charged with elder abuse and medical fraud. Eric cried harder than I've ever seen. Ethan came home with me, not temporarily, permanently. Ending. My mind cleared. Ethan speaks now, slowly, confidently. And me? I drink my tea alone, unafraid, because silence can be forced, but truth always finds its voice.